The importance of controlling your narrative. These four creatives explore the power of controlling your narrative. They'll discuss storytelling as a tool for identity and share insights on creating authentic stories for your community.
Hey.
Good to see you. Hello,
Good to see you all.
So my name is Tshimundu. I'm from Congo, and I'm a writer and artist based here in Brussels.
I'm Sarah. I'm from Brussels as well, and I'm a photographer.
I am Asher. I also live in Brussels. Local bureaucrat by day, current affairs digester by night.
I'm Sophia. I work in Brussels, and I'm a writer, specifically children books, and I'm engaged to the association Untold Asian Stories.
Very nice.
Also from Untold Asian Stories, by the way.
What are elements that you believe are important in telling a story and storytelling from your point of view?
I think the very important thing for me is the authenticity. That you're really telling the story from your heart, from your lived experiences, and not just like sanitizing them to fit the audience you listen to. Maybe there might be like tricks here and there, but I would sense somewhat if what you're telling is just like, you know, sanitized for this this kind of audience, and I will call BS to that if I have to.
And plus, if it's always sanitized, it's always the same story in the end. There's no, it's not organic, there's no authenticity to it, and it becomes boring at the end, you know?
True.
It's always a repetition.
Yeah,
What
I
would
feel
you
like
say?
people need to, or the person that's telling the story needs to tell the story as if to themselves, because then they're representing the people that are like them, you know, almost rebelliously not translating yourself, because there are people that will understand you. And that's not always easy, but I think that's what would be a very important part of the storytelling, is making sure that you're being honest to yourself and telling the story for yourself, almost selfishly.
And in that sense, you communicate with people that feel the same as you do, and you create more
And
genuine connection.
And it's not always easy, I think, in the beginning to find people that connect with you or that have the same experiences. But it's only when somebody, you know, puts up the lamp or the torch that other people can find them. And so sometimes being that bold allows people to be like, oh my gosh, I know that story. That's me. That's my story.
To that, I would also say, bring the community into the story. Talk about your own self, sure, but you have to have some type of community dimension to it, because if it's just individual stories, in the end, is it a general societal problematic that you can explain through your storytelling or not? So I think you have to mix both of them in some sense.
Right. Yeah, and then somebody or even a lot of people still will recognize you in your story. I was just thinking also about my story, because my family is Chinese, migrated to Indonesia, and then from Indonesia, the next generation migrated to Belgium, and then I was born in Belgium, and I'm married to somebody from France. So my kids, in the beginning, they were all lost, like, I'm not Belgian, so I'm just actually Chinese, Indonesian, and from France, and what am I doing here? So, but I think even if there is not like the community for them, a lot of people, a lot of kids and a lot of young people will still recognize in that kind of situation, even then. Yeah. So I think you can recognize you in your community, but even if it's not in your community, I could even recognize myself in stories of experiences you had, being born in Brussels and having your experiences here.
In the end, you can actually say that there are different type of communities. In the sense, you can see community as where you're from, what country you're from, but you can also see community as what you do. We're creatives, we're the creative community, and we're all from different places, but then we have the same roots in terms of what drives us, etc. And that will bring you to where you belong, if I can say that like that.
Yeah, I think that's also very interesting thing in storytelling, because you have like your identity, that it's very diverse. You're from a specific ethnic community, but you have your passions, you have your dreams, and you bring all those things together, it makes storytelling so interesting and so loving.
And so rich also.
Yes, exactly.
If you could do a project for your community with full creative freedom and unlimited budget, what would you do?
That's a big
Question.
That's a big question.
I didn't have that question.
That's a big question. Untold Asian stories, because you guys work directly with a community already, right?
Yes, right, yeah.
Out of all the projects you've already done, what is the one that would, like a new project, unlimited budget, anything?
Anything, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one. So we already exist for 3 years, and we started really small, just a few people who met each other, and people connected very fast. But there was one thing that we lacked because we felt there were struggles we all had in our environment, that a lot of experiences that we had, positive but also negative, but they weren't recognized by outside people. And we saw that in other countries, like in Great Britain, in the States, and also in Holland, not a long time ago in Holland, there was done a lot of research on the Asian community about their struggles. And that's what we lack here in Belgium, because such research makes people believe and recognize the community, what we need and what our struggles are.
It's true, the more you know your community, the better you can cater to their needs, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. If people don't recognize it, or society doesn't recognize it, it's very difficult to get through it. So it would be very interesting if more research was done.
For me, the project would be, so I'm from Congo, and for the last couple of decades, there's been a lot of unrest on the east side of Congo. And a lot of campaigns and awareness have shown very horrific pictures. But for families that have lived through that, it's also just people. And my family was affected by that. And so what I'd really love to do is have a sort of photo exhibition, but of people just bringing their own family pictures. So not devastation pictures, but just, my dad used to have a farm, and my mom used to hold a school. I mean, that's my family story. But it humanizes the whole situation, because it's not just a big number of people that have died or passed away. It becomes families, it becomes dreams, it becomes communities that came together in other countries because they had to flee, because they had to restart.
You bring the devastation connotation out of it.
Yeah.
It's also joy in life and everything. But my project would be very similar to yours, kind of. It's the 60-ish years of Moroccan immigration. I'm Moroccan, and I would love to have a deeper dive on how it has affected the whole community, even Brussels as a Belgian community and the Moroccan community that has come throughout the 60 years, the evolution of it. But then for that, as you have said, you would also need some kind of research, numbers research, that have a bigger weight than where to find it.
That's really interesting. Also
that
for
would be
Brussels
very
on
interesting.
itself, also a collective historical meaning for the community also. Oh, nice, yeah.
A project I was thinking that we can do if we had shitload of money, because I see that we have a lot of creatives in Untold Asian Stories. Maybe we can do something like a sitcom or a TV series or a movie that just depicts Asian stories.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Growing up Asian in Europe, I think it's different from the States. And we look too much on the States as a reference. Mm-hmm. I think it's high time for us to, as Asians, to also say that, hey, we have Asians here too in Europe, and we have our own way of life, and we have also our struggles here. And we want to show it to the people, and saying to the people that there is a quite wide variety within the Asian community. Okay, this is a very good question. If you could tell your younger self what you're doing right now, what would this person, this younger self, think of you?
The younger me had a hard time trying to live in this world, being like, okay, I have a drive for this, but also the world says I need to have a job, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. Can I mix both? How does it work? And to see myself today actually mixing both, and it's working. And I mean, it's not always easy, but it's working.
It's working.
And it's fulfilling. Back to telling stories, because that drive to tell a story, the drive to tell my story, the community, when I tell my story vulnerably and people connect with it, that is so fulfilling that I think younger Will would be over the moon.
Wow,
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Sounds really nice.
Me, I think it would be very easy. I'd be very surprised, but also very proud, because linked to what you were saying, you have this thing where you feel that you're creative, but also you want to go the safe path of just general jobs, if I may say so. And you're in this in between where you're scared, and you also don't feel at your place, which I know I had that when I was younger. But now, again, as you have said, I'm combining both of them, and it's working pretty good, thank God. So yeah, my 12-year-old self would look at me and be like, I want to be like you when I grow up.
I think my younger self would have a really hard time processing what I'm doing right now. Because when I was 12, I really wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And right now, like, being me processing all what's happening in the world and being politically active, because funny enough, before I migrated, I swore to myself not to engage in any political thing. Because where I came from, like, politics can be very, very dirty and very dangerous. And right now, my younger self would just like be surprised and say, well, what the heck?
How did you get there?
How do you get there now? Why? And I think it's very important to say that the interest of politics do not really go by itself. It's mostly from like my awareness of what's happening in the world, and like that's the drive for me to do something to, very cliche, make the world a better place. But at the same time, doing it in my own way. And I think through that passion, I was able to really discover myself, and I'm still in that process and trying to really express myself in a way that I'm really comfortable with.
You would convince your younger self to be happy with what you are now.
Yeah, it might take a little convincing to do.
Okay. I would be very proud of who I am now, like you're saying, because we didn't have anything when we were kids. We would be already happy to sleep in a bed and to have blankets and not to be on the streets and have food on the table. So for me, the dream was already to survive and to have a job, not even to study, but to just have a job afterwards. That would be already a dream. So to fulfill myself with what I'm doing, it would be like not imaginable when I was a kid. So she would be really, really proud. Yeah, I think that's how she would look.
Very proud.
To my older self.
All positive things.
Great.
Yay.
Yay.
De Griet.